And yeah, just let us know how your week has been. I always say this on a Monday night, Matt. It's good having someone else here, actually, because on a Monday night, I'm all on my own, like on camera. But I always say every Monday night, I say, listen, get optimistic. Anything could happen this week. You know, literally one email, one phone call, something could happen in your life that could change the rest of your life, the trajectory of your career for
Nearly.
for the rest of your life. Dan Ryan, great actor. He was the one who got me into saying that on a act on this broadcast that I did with him years ago, probably a decade ago. He was sat there and he said, listen, on a Sunday night, on a Monday, he goes, I get excited. He says, even when I'm not working as an actor, I'm optimistic. Anything could happen this week. So yeah, I hope people are optimistic. Let us know what your how your week has started, and let us know what your goals are for this week as well. Goal setting is a massive thing me and Matt talk about a lot, and it's not always the big goals that need setting in terms of the 12-month stuff, Matt. Sometimes it's just like, what do we need to get done this week? What do we need to get done tomorrow? And are you going to schedule those things in literally tonight? To make sure that you do get them done. So let us know, as I say, what's going on Facebook. We'll dive into the comments in a minute. But Matt, first of all, should we just recap a little bit on what we did on Saturday for, I don't know, probably I think 400 actors came through that training that we did on Zoom on Saturday morning. I will give the link out to people later on in this if you stick around, if you want to watch the recording of that. But how did you find it, mate?
Oh, I loved it. I love the interaction, the engagement. I love talking about this stuff. I love people getting light bulb moments. One thing I want to say to everybody watching tonight, obviously it's a little bit different with me here joining Ross. So I apologize if you just wanted your Monday dose of acting stuff with Ross. But I think one thing that I cannot reiterate enough, you know, those who don't know me, I was an actor for over a decade, from being like a child actor, did little bits of TV and some really cool jobs actually, and some theater and stuff. And now I'm all about mindset coaching and life and business coaching, things like that. But the one thing I have learned about achieving anything in life, so if you genuinely are passionate about being a successful actor, the number one thing that's going to be the difference between you achieving your goals and not is your mindset. So please don't just think, oh, I wanted like Peter Hunt to be on today to tell me how to get into Hollyoaks. Like, please, guys, like, still stay tuned in for this and engage with this session. We talk a little bit, don't we, on Bulletproof Actor, the course that we run, about this study that was done with the Andrew Carnegie Institute, wasn't it? So this is like about 120 years ago, something like this. He was at the time one of the richest people in the world. And obviously back then, I guess that is a metric that people would have viewed as success, right? If you were financially wealthy, that was success. We know today there's many ways you can define success. But back then, they did this kind of research into what is it that makes the most successful people in the world successful. Long story short, because we can do a really good long story a lot of the time, Ross and I. But the short version is this. They found that only 15% of knowledge and skill sets attributed to success. What they actually found was the biggest percent was 85% of what made someone successful was a combination of their attitude and sort of their approach to life and their behaviors. 85%. In other words, 15% is having the knowledge and the talent, you know, knowing what to do to make your spotlight profile look great, or your show reel, or your headshots, or what casting directors to write off to, or your natural ability as an actor. That equates to 15% roughly of what makes you successful. The biggest part, the 85%, is this, your mindset, your attitude. And ultimately, that's what we were talking for nearly 2.5 hours all about on Saturday. And it's what we're here to talk a bit more about now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually survey people in this very Facebook group where you're probably watching this. If you watch it on LinkedIn or you watch it on X, it doesn't matter. But we surveyed the Facebook group, and we found, I mean, the Facebook group's got 10,000 actors in it. We actually found some really staggering results. 70% of actors have a lack of self-confidence. They don't believe in their confidence. They struggle with believing they're good enough in the acting industry. 60% of actors are labeling themselves as procrastinators. They're like, I don't get anything done. I'm really busy, but I never feel productive. 1 in 2, so 50% of actors walk around with a base level of anxiety bubbling underneath the surface that makes them feel on edge all of the time. And it's this sort of stuff that will absolutely screw your career up if you don't get a hang on it, because you can be the most talented actor in the the world. But as Matt said, if your attitude, if your mindset isn't right, if your mental game isn't strong, if you're not mentally resilient, you've not got mental toughness, and you don't really know how to control your emotions in the real world, then you're not going to get that talent in front of anybody, because you're not going to have the confidence to do it. You're not going to be motivated to get those emails out. You're not going to be motivated to shoot those self tapes, to, do the things that are going to, get you in the room or get your audition opportunities. And you see this across the board, Matt, like in life in general, right? We all know it's really freaking simple. We all know how to get a six pack. We know how to get in shape, right? We eat well and we exercise. We do sit ups, right? But reading about sit ups isn't enough. Having the information is not enough. You've got to get out there and actually do the sit ups. So like you say, 15% of getting a six pack is probably that information. 85% is stop reading about it and start doing it. And that's the thing. There'll be so many people here in our community who are so good enough to act, should be working on screen right now, working in TV. Through all of the Act on This stuff that we do, all the membership calls with the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, directors, producers, every single week, you guys know what you should be doing. And yet people still get in touch with me because they haven't done it, because they're petrified, because they're scared, because this isn't right up here. And that's why I really do believe, and why the tagline for Bulletproof Actor is mindset is everything.
And
It
I think
really,
if you're
really is.
hearing that tonight, guys, like if you're hearing this and thinking about this, immediately act on it now in terms of, okay, 85% roughly of what equates to your success in life, in your acting career, and so on. So now think 85% is mindset. How much time are you investing in working on your mindset, right? Because it's the same. I love that analogy, Ross, about like working on your body, like just learning about what to eat and what gym sessions to do, and knowing what to do ain't going to do nothing to your body. You've got to go and put in the reps. You've got to go and eat that food. And it's the same with your mindset, just knowing you need to work on confidence, self-belief, overcoming procrastination, overcoming anxiety. Understanding this stuff isn't enough. I always say, with all the stuff that we coach and we teach people around these subjects, even once you understand some of the tools and the strategies that are going to help you, it's not enough to now have done it once and know it. It is the same as working on your body. You need to regularly be working on this stuff. I'm working on it still, a decade later after learning a lot of it. You're the same, Ross, aren't you? It's something we work on all the time. And I just think it's such a good principle to live by. Think of it like your body. Think about your physical health. If you're not consistently doing the right things and actually working on it, your body isn't going to get the results you want with your body. Well, it's the same with your mindset, and it equates directly to your acting success, because I think Rachel Shenton as well, who obviously has gone to be an Oscar winner, which you can't do much better as an actor, right?
Yeah.
Well, she obviously did this Bulletproof Actor program, and listening to her speak about it, she said the same thing. She said, actually, I think mindset is more important than talent. And so again, it's this same theme. So if you're hearing this tonight, guys, I think it's a good opportunity to reflect and think, how much time, energy, effort are you investing into working on your mindset? Now you know it's the main ingredient, really, to you achieving more success.
Yeah, no, we'll play a video out from Rachel later on. We'll get to get her experience of the program that we said we just opened the doors. I'll go over this now quickly whilst people get their questions in. Any questions that you've got to do with your mindset, with your psychology, think of the roadblock that's coming up in your life again and again and again, both in your career, maybe even outside of your career, because every part of your life affects every part of your life. If you struggle with self-confidence in your acting career, you probably struggle with self-confidence outside of it as well. How is that showing up? Is there a roadblock that's coming up time and time again for you when it comes to your mindset? Are you self-sabotaging? Do you struggle to believe in yourself? Are you still holding on to a limiting belief someone gave you at school 20, 30 years ago? Someone told you 20 years ago that you're always going to be the support act. So now, you're still living with that, and you won't even dare, to put yourself forward for any leading roles or stuff like that. What did people say to you years ago that you're still honoring today that's keeping you trapped? But bulletproofactor.com, if someone could put that in the chat for me right now, would be absolutely amazing. We open the doors to this program. It's an absolutely incredible program. It's the most in-depth mindset coaching program for actors on earth. It's actually the only one. If it wasn't the only one, it would still be, without a doubt, the most in-depth. You go to bulletproofactor.com, you can check out exactly what's included in this program. But we recorded this program last year with 100 actors to make sure that we got it right. And it covers everything to do with ultimately, the story you are living right now, how you are limiting yourself, the beliefs you are holding, the things you are believing to be true, that really, could be the things that are blocking you from getting the success that you want. We take you through an incredible 16 hours of video coaching. So there's 8 modules that you can see here. It equates to 16 hours of pre-recorded content that when you sign up, you could literally start working on this stuff tonight if you wanted to get involved in this. There's a 50-page workbook. It tells you all about the modules here. You can read this on the site for yourself at bulletproofactor.com. Tells you a bit about me and Matt. There's some testimonials. There's Rachel. I'll play that video out in a minute. From overwhelmed to Oscar winner. Rachel took the program before she went on to win an Oscar. Just going to say full credit. Full credit for that. You can hear from other people who helped us put this program together last year and the impact that it's had on them as well. There's Josh Chadwick, Act On This member, just filmed his second TV job last week. Credits Bulletproof Actor for a lot of his success there. And if you enroll now as well, before we close the doors, we only let 100 people in a year on this. Roughly 50% of places have gone already. But if you do enroll this year, you get £1,000 worth of bonuses. And that includes, just massive, massive in-depth coaching. So we've got another 8 hours of live coaching coming up. So that's 4 2-hour calls, breaking down everything inside this 16 hours that you already got access to. Gives time for plenty of group coaching Q&A. We've got an exclusive Facebook group just for people who are going through this program. You're going to get 4 months in it. Okay, that's a way for you to network with everyone else on the program, get support, ask questions. Me and Matt are going to be going live in there as well, hosting Q&As. It's just going to be an incredible place to keep you motivated and inspired to get through this content. You're going to get 3 months in a secret WhatsApp accountability group that Matt is going to host. Just tell people a bit about that, Matt, because this is your thing that you're doing now.
Yeah, it's something I do with a lot of my one-to-one clients. And what a lot of the studies show is, look, goal setting is really important because ultimately that's about figuring out where do you want to go? Like, what direction are you going to head in? So, yes, setting goals is important, but let me know in the chat if you resonate with this. January comes around, you sit down and you think, right, this is my year. I want to really start to move forward in my life. I want to achieve a load of stuff. And then it doesn't actually happen. Or maybe some of it does, but half of it doesn't. Let me know if that resonates with you. I know I, for one, have been there many, many times. And what a lot of the studies show, like one of the missing links is accountability. And the more accountability you can have, the better. You can see that people that write down goals, a small percent achieve them, but then that percent drastically increases for those who have accountability. So that is why I think an accountability WhatsApp group is super important. When I run something like this, I'll be putting in certain messages at certain times where I expect you to respond in there. So it's not just a one-way conversation. And because of that, that's then kind of like pushing you to engage and actually to be accountable. If I say on a Monday, what are your intentions? And you tell me, and then a Friday, I say, how are you getting on? And you're like, oh, and you know you're going to have to answer that. It gives you that extra reason, that extra push to actually do a little bit more than perhaps you would have done working on these goals on your own. So that's kind of a little bit of a baseline of what the whole idea is and how a WhatsApp accountability group sort of works.
And when we were building this program, we actually tested that out with a test group of actors last year for just 30 days. This intake, you're getting 3 months of it. So we've never given people this much access to Matt before when we've launched Bulletproof Actor in the past. There's also an incredible interview that Matt did with one of the best sort of psychologists that I've ever sat and listened to, a guy called Dr. Aria, where he really walks people through how to face, like, not just a bit of adversity, but freaking masses of adversity. Real, like, stuff that people would find very difficult to bounce back from. But, it helps you to sort of deal with that in this. It's like how long is it, Matt? It's a good hour-long interview, this, isn't it?
I think it's slightly longer, but it's not just what I love about it. And I'm the same. It's one of the most powerful interviews I've done. It's not just about overcoming serious adversity. It's about overcoming it, but also still moving forward and achieving goals. When we go through massive adversity, a lot of us will be like, oh, we just need to take time to deal with this. And of course, absolutely true. But with his approach, his mindset, his attitude, it's about still achieving your goals and dealing with adversity. It's just super powerful, super emotional, super inspiring. One of the best interviews I've ever done. So yeah, really, really good.
So that's included this time as well. We've got there's 2 pricing points on it. You can get involved in this program. It's 4 months of coaching, basically $497. It's the cheapest it's ever going to be, by the way. This is just a special for this year. As anyone who's been around actsonthis.tv will know, the programs that I normally launch, First TV or Fast Track, they all basically increase in price each year until they hit 747 quid. This will be 747 quid next year. But if you want to get in it this year, save 250 quid, get all of those bonuses, and basically just make sure, guarantee that the rest of your life is the best of your life. You can register right now, bulletproofactor.com for this. There is a payment plan there as well if you want to spread the cost out. I know people might want to spend that money up front. You can spread the cost over 3 months there as well. But there's a little bit, of info on that. bulletproofactor.com to read all about it. As I say, when 100 places have been sold, the doors will close, and that is it. It is game over on that. But tonight, we're just here for you to basically just answer your questions, give you free value. I like the way Josh says life-changing. Josh, mate, honestly, Josh has been involved in all the courses we've done. He did first TV role fast track, got his first TV role, Bulletproof Actor, got his second TV role. He's crushing it. But yeah, any questions about that, by the way, let me know. Julie, I know you're in on this as well, aren't you? I think yeah, Julie Morgan, I'm sure you're signed up, aren't you? There's a few people actually in the chat here tonight who are signed up. And Josh says, if you want to get on top form, I'd highly advise doing it. It'll make you very happy. Cheers, Josh. Means the world, mate. Right, get your questions in there. What I'll do is should I play Rachel's video out while people are getting the questions in, and then we'll just hammer Q&A for the rest of the time.
I think so. I think just to say, guys, like anybody watching right now, you know, while we play this video, this is an opportunity to get some genuine advice and help from both of us. So I want you to really think about, what are the biggest stumbling blocks for you right now? What are the things when it comes to your self-belief, your overall mindset, your overall confidence, things like that? What do you find are those things that are stopping you progressing, stopping you moving forward, the things you find yourself overwhelmed with, the anxiety, the procrastination? The more specific you can be with your question as well, the more specific we can be with our answers. Obviously, only share in the comments things you're comfortable sharing publicly. Obviously, this is Facebook Live. It's not a private coaching session. But use this opportunity, because the better the questions are, and by the way, there's no wrong questions. It's just the things that we can help you with. But the better our answers could be. And I always find when I do these Q&As that something you might think is personal to you and just something you're struggling with and you maybe feel silly asking, almost always in us answering it, it will benefit nearly everybody listening. So do not be afraid. Get your questions in. The more the merrier, and we'll try and help as many of you tonight leave this live session with some real clarity over the next steps, over the things that can help you, so you can make this week absolutely awesome, and obviously beyond this week, but in particular this week.
Yep, love it. I love it, love it, love it. Yeah, honestly, use this now to get as much value out of us for free as possible. So I'm going to play this little video out of Rachel just talking about her experience with Bulletproof Actor. I'll say bulletproofactor.com if you want to get involved in this coaching program this year. Places will probably be available for the next, next few days, week or so. So keep an eye out. But if you really want to get on top of your mindset this year, get involved in this, and then we'll come back for about 40 minutes of Q&A Matt will be able to do tonight. So here we go. It's Rachel's experience.
Before Bulletproof Actor, my mindset was probably the worst that it's ever been in my career. I remember I was living in the States at the time doing a show called Switched at Birth, and I think I was just experiencing massive bouts of imposter syndrome, really, because there was really well-established people in the show. The show itself was well-established. It was in its sort of second season at the time, so I felt like I was a new kid in school. And I wasn't doing very well on set. At the time I was auditioning for other shows and going in and kind of royally screwing them up. I couldn't get my head together enough to get through an audition. So nervous and just in my head. And Bulletproof Actor was the thing that changed the game, really. My mindset shifted dramatically since doing the course. First and foremost is actually just getting out of my own way and starting to write. I've always wanted to write, but I guess I've had limiting beliefs on whether I can, whether I'm smart enough, whether I have the right to tell certain stories. And that was a really big thing for me, telling the story of the silent child and creating the conversations that we created around access to education for the deaf community is something I was incredibly passionate about and something that I really, really wanted to do. But I guess, yeah, I had all these limiting beliefs on why I shouldn't, and it was really hard. And then how do you do it? You know, how to make a short film, never done it before. And we actually went down the route of crowdfunding, and I was advised against it by more than one person. In fact, 3 people off the top of my head I can think of said, don't do crowdfunding. It'll be terrible. The page will end up closing and you'll just have like 50 quid from your mum or whatever. And thanks to Bulletproof Actor and sort of really stripping back limiting beliefs and understanding it, I managed to kind of smash all that and move through it. And obviously I'm very, very glad that I did. It ended up being a sort of real pivotal moment in my career. We won an Oscar. A light bulb moment for me comes back to the writing again. I had limiting beliefs around being smart enough to write, and I remember one of the exercises being like a tabletop and you need to find the 4 legs to make it stand up. The 4 legs being things that reinforce that doubt. And And when I sort of realised I couldn't, it was gone for me. And that was just an idea. And when it's just an idea, it's really easy to then question it and go, actually, that doesn't need to be my story anymore. So that was a real moment for me. What made me choose Bulletproof Actor? It's quite an easy answer, actually. I don't know still now another course like it. So it was kind of an easy choice, really. I can remember reading about it and thinking that's exactly what I need. So yeah, easy choice. Firstly, how sort of practically easy it was to navigate. I've done a handful of online courses and sometimes they're not so simple to follow, but it flowed really well, so I loved that bit. But I also liked the kind of universal nature that when you apply these techniques to your acting career, it bleeds into other areas of your life, such as finance, relationships, friendships, and so you kind of can't help but level up across the board, and I really like that. No, I didn't have any concerns about signing up. I'm a big fan of Ross and the work that he does in the acting community, so I was kind of excited, to be honest. I'd never heard of anything like that, and I knew it was going to be value-packed, and it was. So, yeah, no concerns. From my experience, mindset is the most important thing being an actor. I know I've just said the most, and I mean it. Are kind of ahead of talent. Because if your mindset isn't right going into an audition, it doesn't matter how well prepared you are or how right you are for the role, it's not going to work. And I've experienced times in my career when my mindset hasn't been right and the wheels have really come off, and then I've experienced times where it has and things have flowed and been great. So it's so important. Investing in yourself is so important. As actors, that's kind of all we've got. So if anybody's watching that's on the fence, I'd say go and do it. You won't regret it.
Boom. So there you go. There's just Rachel's experience of that. Indra, I could see in the chat, you said, what year did Rachel do it? Rachel did Bulletproof Actor around 2017 and then won the Oscar in 2018. And she's actually going through the program again, Matt. Literally right now. She messaged me before to say she's seen obviously all this stuff going on and we're getting a new intake in. And she's going through, she's up to module 4 again now out of 8. And that's what she's working on literally tonight. So even though she's been through it, had an awful lot of success, like we said before, this isn't something you can just do once. It's like, you can't just lift weights once in the gym, get a pump on your biceps and expect to keep it forever. You've got to keep going back to the gym and keep lifting those weights. Same sort of thing. So amazing. Well, we're going to answer all of your questions, guys. Any questions you have got on mindset, blocks in your life that keep coming up again and again, maybe, do let us know in the chat right now if you're here on Facebook. Anything that we can help you with. A lot of people, do you know one word I hear bandied around a lot at the moment, and I don't even know if it's like even a real thing, Matt. People overuse the phrase imposter syndrome an awful lot. And like part of me these days, I just question whether that's even a real thing and whether that's just a lack of preparedness, where you're like, oh, I'm going into that audition feeling like an imposter. Well, I never go into anything feel like an imposter if I've done the work. I do if I've not done the work and I'm blagging it. What is this something that comes up a lot with clients you work with?
I think there's something to be said for that. The more prepared you are, the more that you're going to feel ready, then you're not going to feel like an imposter. But I think on the flip side, I talk a lot about operating out of your comfort zone. And I say that is where true confidence comes. It's where we gain those capabilities, we grow the self-belief. And when you hear all this like fake it till you make it nonsense, it's absolute opposite to that. It's like how you grow and build genuine, authentic confidence is stepping out of your comfort zone, doing stuff that scares you a little bit. You might have, for example, the first time you get an audition, that's going to be scary. But then it might be that you've only auditioned for amateur stuff. When you get a professional audition or then you get a film audition or whatever, there's always like new level, new devil, as we say. Yeah. But if you're not genuinely on a regular basis doing things that scare you a little bit, then you're not going to be building confidence and building your skill sets, building your capabilities. So actually, we should be doing stuff that scares us a little bit on a regular basis, from time to time. And then logically, if you're doing that, if you're doing something at a new level or something you've never done before, there is going to be a bit of a feeling of, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm good enough. Now, every time we both have podcasts and we've both sat down and spoke with some really cool people who've done amazing things. And it's one of the common thing I hear time and time again, people who have genuinely achieved great success, got some great jobs and so on, have all experienced that feeling from time to time. It's actually an ingredient of success, is that thing of doing things you've not done before, being scared, pushing yourself. So the thing that I offer as a bit of a reframe, if you like, when you're feeling that way, is actually this is acting as evidence, as an indicator, if you like, that I'm in the right place to achieve. If I am a little bit nervous, if I am out of my comfort zone, if I do feel a bit like, oh gosh, I don't know if I can do this. Brilliant. Like, pat yourself on the back. Massive well done, because you're pushing yourself. And when you push yourself, it is just a time game. Like, sooner or later, you're going to get new results when you're doing that kind of thing. So that's just a little thing I would offer, is use it as a bit of a positive reframe, really, that you're in the right place for success. If you're feeling a bit of an imposter from time to time, we all do when we're pushing ourselves.
No, I agree. And I can see, Di, you've got a great example in the chat. She said, I took a bit of a chance a couple of weeks ago, contacting an agent whose actors are all above my level of jobs so far. Amazingly, he got back to me, said nice things about my headshots and reel, and we're meeting in London tomorrow.
Oh, man. They like,
boom.
That's what we're talking about. Great.
It's that. And if you'd allowed, Di, those limiting beliefs of these are people above my level, or, I will never reach that level, you never would have got into that stretch zone to send that email, because you would have thought, what is the freaking point? And that's what we're talking about before. You can have all the information in the world, but if you don't have the inspiration to actually act on that, that's why this is called Act on This. And, why I'm such a big, advocate of just people taking action, specific action. You wouldn't have got that result, Di. Now, hopefully what that'll do, regardless of the result, is that will then feed back into your belief now around your potential. And you'll go on to take more action next time. We covered this on Saturday's training, something called the success cycle. And it all starts ultimately with the beliefs that you hold around yourself about what it is that you can achieve, your potential ultimately. And then you will only take action in alignment with that potential. So if you believe you've got the potential to work at those levels that those actors are working at, like you do, you took that action to send that email, you've got that result, which is a meeting with the agent. Now that should feed back into your belief to say, see, Di, you can get more meetings with people at this level if you keep sending those emails. Then you're going to get, you're going to take bigger action, you're going to get better results, and you'll spiral up and up and up and up. And that's just how it works. And unfortunately, Matt, a lot of actors, they don't believe in their potential, and they go, oh, the industry's crooked, it's biased, it's against me, it's unfair, there's no point. So they take little action, and of course they get bad results, and they go, yeah, see, I told you it was unfair and biased. You've not done anything. That's why. And then they spiral down.
I want to just highlight that point, Ross. Like, if you're listening to this now, this is golden what Ross is saying. The thing that we talk about a lot when we're coaching people is it's about taking personal responsibility. And what we mean by that is focusing on what you can control. There's so many things in this industry that you've got no control over. Every single job, the decision isn't yours whether you get it or not, right? So that's out of your control, the actual getting the job. But what we encourage people to do is put all their focus, energy, and emphasis on what can you control. And when it comes to beliefs, a misconception that a lot of people have is, oh, you were just born confident and you were born just believing in yourself and thinking you're good enough. And some people are just like that. I want to strongly argue that that's a load of nonsense. Belief in yourself comes from providing evidence to back up that belief ultimately. So really take on board what Ross is saying there and evaluate your life and your current routine and what you're currently actually doing. Are you every single day on some level when you wake up looking at that day thinking, right, how can I create tiny wins that act as evidence that I am a proactive actor, that I'm not a procrastinator, that I am talented, that I am good enough? How, based on what you can control, not based on other people, based on your actions, what you're doing every single day, are you providing to yourself evidence that supports the belief that is needed to actually get the outcome? A lot of people wait for someone else to give them an opportunity or wait for the belief to just suddenly appear. No, beliefs are created based on evidence, and you can create that evidence based on the actions you take. So I just think that's a really practical takeaway for anybody listening today. If you struggle with confidence and self-belief in your ability, that one of the main things is not just looking in a mirror, manifesting and going, I believe I'm good enough, I feel amazing, I'm talented, and just telling yourself things that you don't actually believe. Go away and think, what is the things I can do that are going to provide evidence to change that belief? I'll just share a really quick story, Ross, that we mentioned at the event we did in October. Stephen Bartlett speaks about a really good example when it comes to beliefs. And he says, on some level, your beliefs you don't get to choose, right? And the example that he uses, that I just think is a really great way of putting this across, is if somebody walked into the room and put a gun, I know this sounds really like, a little bit dramatic and not very nice, so please forgive me and bear with it, but I think it's a good example.
It is a good example, yeah.
Yeah, if somebody put a gun to the head of the person you love the most, right? They've got that person you love, they're holding a gun to the head, and they turn around and say, I am going to pull that trigger unless you believe, truthfully believe, I'm Jesus Christ. The reality is you're screwed. Like, that person you love with all your heart is going to get shot, right? So the point we're making is, when the stakes are as high as they could possibly be, somebody just telling you to believe in something isn't enough, okay? Now, if in front of you that person suddenly, like, genuinely turns some water into wine or starts walking on water, all these things we know Jesus did, you suddenly go, oh, okay, like,
There'd be some evidence to go, hang on a minute.
Yeah, this might be Jesus. Maybe you are Jesus. Okay, I'm starting to think I do believe. And I just think it's a little bit of a silly example, but I think it's a great one. Even when the stakes are as high as possible, it's not enough to just go, I believe I'm good enough, I'm confident, I'm talented enough, you're Jesus Christ. It's not enough. You need evidence, enough counter evidence that's going to make you think, yes, I can shift this belief. So if you don't believe in yourself now, think, what are the things I can do within my control on a daily basis that are going to act as new evidence to start to truly embed the new belief? Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And just for a couple of minutes, just want to play here for a second. We've got some great questions coming in here, by the way. We're going to talk about these. I want to cover negative self-talk. People have put there in a minute. Also around anxiety, Matthew, you can see you've got a question there. We cover this a lot in Bulletproof Actor. But I think a lot of you know, the ultimately the evidence that you're trying to create for yourself, that maybe, you know, you are, some people struggle with even saying they're an actor, Matt.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, what evidence do I have to say? I don't want to say I'm an actor, because then the next thing people are going to say is like, well, what have you been in? I've not been in anything, so I don't have the evidence to say I'm an actor. You need to look at what you actually, you know, are classing as an actor in terms of the identity of an actor. What, you know, what is an actor for you? Because so many people, you know, their identity is completely dictated to by their employment status. If they're in a job, I can tell people I'm an actor. If I'm not, I can't say it. I feel like a complete fraud. And for us, and what we cover a lot in Bulletproof Actor, is you know, sort of really choosing, you know, to identify as an actor, not just when you're employed. It could be like, you know, for me, you know, a big part of being an actor is, you know, I am someone who creates, you know, without permission from anybody else. I am someone who will go the extra mile to find opportunity that doesn't just come from my agent. You know, like, lots of little things that you can do each day that can be little ticks on the charts. So go, yeah, I am someone who does what he says he's going to do. I said I'd email those people, and I've done it. Doesn't have to be like, I've got to get a job and that's the evidence that I need, because that's, you know, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. It can be the little things each day that can provide evidence, but just have a look at what your identity as an actor even is. Because if it is just like, well, I can say I'm an actor when I'm on TV, you're just going to be living a real miserable existence. You know, I'm an actor who's creative on my own terms. I'll go and shoot some self-tapes just for fun. I'll practice, you know, working with cameras. I'll edit some stuff. That's part of being an actor for me. So, you know, I can produce better self-tapes. I can, you know, potentially, you know, write and create my own stuff like we saw Rachel do, won an Academy Award. Have a look at what you're classing as an actor, first of all, and then have a look at, you know, the evidence, you know, that you're providing yourself, you know, to justify that or not. And if it's just like, I'm an actor when I'm employed, you're not going to be employed all the time as an actor. The best actors in the world aren't employed all the time.
And it directly affects your confidence, doesn't it, Ross? Because I think when you're going into those auditions, having not had a job for a while and putting all your worth as an actor on getting jobs, then it can breed into like a little bit of desperation and fear. Whereas actually, if you've done this work that we're talking about now, and you start to shift your identity as an actor, and you find all this new evidence to go, yeah, I am a bloody actor and I'm good
Yeah.
at it. And I am proactive and I am taking the right steps every single day. Suddenly you have a different aura and energy around you going into those auditions. You're more likely to get it, because when there's 10 actors auditioning, 9 of them have got a smell of desperation, because we can tell, can't we, when someone walks in and you know they don't fully believe in themselves and they're nervous and they're uncertain. And when that 10th actor walks in and they've done this work that we get actors to do, and they're like, do you know what? Life's good. I'm doing cool stuff. I believe in myself. This is just another cool opportunity. I don't need this job anymore. My whole identity isn't based on getting this job. You're going to have a different energy about you and you're more likely to get the job. And then again, that bleeds into the success cycle, doesn't it, that we talk about?
Yeah, because the director's going to be like, oh, okay, right. I feel confident watching you.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than watching an actor and feeling like you're going to catch them. You know, you're going to fall in them, and I'm going to have to catch you. It's awful when you see an actor
Massive.
dry on stage.
Yeah.
And I get it. We've all done it. You know, some of us are better at ad-libbing ourselves out of it than others. But when you really feel nervous for the person you're watching, you cannot enjoy their performance. You know, and that's the same in the audition room. When a director and a casting director and the writer or producer, whoever's in the room, can sit back and enjoy the performance that they've already seen 10 times. They know the script. They've seen the scene 10 times. But when they forget that they've seen this 10 times today, I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing it like it's with fresh eyes. This is someone who is owning it.
Yeah.
You've got the job.
Owning it. Honestly, people, just a quick one, because for those that don't know, one of my businesses is we have an entertainment management and agency where we have like live tribute bands and function bands and things like that. And whenever I do auditions, it's just to reiterate what you've probably heard casting directors say a million times, but every time someone walks in for that audition, you desperately want them to be good enough. You desperately want them to get that job as the person auditioning them. And when somebody walks in and you just know they don't believe in themselves, they're not confident, they really want it, you just think, I can't trust you. I don't trust you to do this job confidently because you don't believe in yourself. So how can I believe in you? But when somebody, and it's not arrogance, but when somebody walks in and you can just tell they're at peace, this is where they want to be, they love doing this, they're excited to be here, and they believe in themselves, you just are like, yes, like this person has got it. Yes, 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 let's go. And again, what we're talking about here is everything is about the mindset. It's not about the skill set. I would rather work with someone who's really, really comfortable, confident, open to direction, happy to be there, a pleasure to be around, and is maybe slightly less talented, than someone that's got bags of talent but doesn't believe in themselves and is just super, super uncertain and nervous and they're not consistent, you know? So just another example of the power of working on this stuff we're talking about.
Right, we're going to answer. So we got this question on self-talk. Carolyn says, I just get negative self-talk every time something doesn't go right or another obstacle gets thrown at me. And then I get overwhelmed and my negative self-talk kicks in. So what advice would you have for Carolyn, who I guess is sort of beating herself up every time, you know, something doesn't get the outcome she wants, or there's another obstacle to jump over?
Well, the first thing I will say is well done for keep going, because it is tough. And one of the things that Ross and I are really aware of when we coach is we don't want to coach this nonsense, just kind of like generic coaching advice, which is just pick yourself up and go again and don't have feelings and hustle harder and all that kind of nonsense. Like, you're a human being and it's going to be hard when you get these rejections and things, we get these curveballs in life. But the perspective I'd offer is we've all got our own version of that. And actually, the more, you know, if you think of anybody that you admire that has maybe had a great acting career or is super successful or maybe a great pop star or whatever, whenever you hear about their, you know, stories and their journey, it's very, very rare that they haven't had some massive adversity, some massive rejections, you know, people not believing in their ideas and not thinking they're good enough. And I just always think that, again, it's another indicator that you're on the right path if you're going through that, because every success story was filled with rejection and adversity and knockbacks. And actually, you've probably heard it said a lot of times by famous actors that I actually failed more times than most people are willing to fail. That's why I'm successful, right? That's why, because I was willing to take the knockbacks and keep showing up and keep going through the failures, I'm now successful. And I think a lot of successful actors and people in business and in life, they view failure as actually an integral part of success. It's just part of it. They view rejection and curveballs and obstacles. because only a small percent get super, super successful. So actually, it's about that grit, that determination, that willpower to stay in the game long enough that actually will help you have the chance of getting into that small percent. So if you are experiencing all that kind of stuff, I think just that perspective helps to go, actually, this is normal. This is the route less traveled that actually equates to success if I can just stick with it long enough. And again, it's an overused phrase, but that thing of failure is feedback. Like when things don't go right, things go wrong. It's an opportunity to learn and go, let me evaluate this experience and think, what could I have done better? Where could I improve a little bit more? You know, and I think that regular self-evaluation when challenges happen and things don't get well, if you learn that ability to evaluate and rather than go, oh, I'm going to let this be demotivating and go, oh, I'm useless, I'm rubbish, it's gone wrong again, use it as another opportunity for feedback to learn, then that is kind of part of the parcel of how you grow and how you get better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, there's a couple of things that you know, I do, Caroline, when I've faced a shit ton of rejection as well. Like, honestly, I cannot tell you the number of times, you know, I've faced no in my career. The two times where I've been down to the last two for jobs that would have changed my life completely, as in the you know, leading shows. One in the UK that ended up being winning a BAFTA, where I was down to the last two for the lead in that show, and then one in the States, which I would have ended up getting about 3 seasons of the character I went for. I went over for a screen test, was down to the last two, did the best that I, you know, could have done, didn't get the role. And for me, you know, sometimes I just have to sometimes just sit with the disappointment for a bit, because that's just natural. Don't try and like suppress it and just go like, right, I'm not going to be disappointed, just going to get back on the horse straight away. Sometimes open a bag of Haribo, sit there and just have a cry for a minute. But then ask yourself the question. I do this a lot, Matt. I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to be objective now. What good is there in this situation that I cannot currently see? If I was forced, like you said, gun against the head, to write down a list of 10 things that are good about this situation, I promise you I'd find them. If my life depended on it, I would find those things. And for me, it was like, right, okay, well, I've just met 4 of these producers that I've never met before in my life. How can I keep the rapport going with them? How can I keep the lines of communication open? Same with the casting director. Same with the writer. You know, I'm not going to let that go. I'm going to make sure that I'm in touch with these people moving forward. Because if people have seen you once, they thought you were good to even see you. So they will be up for seeing you again if you build that rapport, you keep going. And also, you know what? When they see you carrying on, we had a guest on Acts on This recently, Dan Hubbard, one of the biggest casting directors in film and TV. And he said, you know what? Sometimes, he says, I freaking love the underdog. And he said, and sometimes when people come in and they audition again and again and they don't get it, he goes, when I truly believe they deserve something, because they haven't got it, but he's like, you know what, you deserve something. You've worked so hard and you just haven't got it again.
Yeah.
He's like, they're the times where I will fight and I will bring that person in until they get something. So even sometimes from a distance, seeing actors face adversity and then get back up and keep going, there's an admiration around that. I saw that with you, Josh. You know, Josh got his first TV job about 18 months ago. You know, we were all like, Josh, come on, you get your second one really quickly. It didn't happen. Ended up, you know, leaving the agent that he was with at the time. Never once did I see him sit there and cry about it. Right. Every tweet that he put out on social media was still very, very positive. And I'm like, that's the attitude. That's that 85% we talk about before that's going to make him succeed. Mm-hmm. And then he just got his second TV job that he just filmed, you know, last week. Like, you know, you get 3 days on a TV show, and he's got a brand new agent now. You know, he's signed with a new agent because he just kept going. So sometimes people will admire that, Carolyn, when they see you. 100%. Just carrying on. Because
Ross, I've literally cast somebody today in one of my shows that we're doing, and he first auditioned about 4 years ago, and he just wasn't quite right. But he's kept on emailing, kept on showing back up, and that did play. It's not the only part, but it absolutely played a part in why I offered him that job today. Because I was like, do you know what? Fair play. You've kept on showing up. You've not taken that quote unquote rejection as like, oh, well, they hate me then, or fine, I'll do better than them, or whatever attitude he could have had. He was just like, fair enough. I wasn't right then, but I'm going to keep on coming back. And I just love that determination. And that has definitely played a part. That attitude has made me go, right, you deserve a shot. Let's go.
Yeah, I love it. Caroline said she emailed Dan got a reply, and Nick just got a reply from him this evening as well. And honestly,
There you
he's a
go.
top bloke, Dan. If he sees talent in you, he will put you in. So he put a lot of unknowns, you know, in the new Jason Statham film, The Beekeeper. Same with Guy Ritchie's new series that's coming out called The Gentleman for Netflix. Dan's a top bloke. He admires people who with tenacity, who just don't give up. And sometimes you've just got to focus, and we say this a lot in Bulletproof Actor, on the output, not the outcome, Caroline. You've got to just keep, you know, focusing on what you can put out there, and then let the outcome kind of look after itself. So hopefully that, you know, gives you a few things to think about. The next thing I think Matthew was asking about was, let's have a look. There's quite a few comments coming through. He says, "I'm no, not that one. What did you say, Matthew? Where was it? It was about anxiety, and we cover this. We covered this on Saturday's training actually as well. I mean, first of all, Matt, when I find this question, just tell people, define anxiety, because I don't think people even really think about it and understand what it is they're feeling when they're anxious.
I think like the caveat we always give to this is we're not talking about an anxiety disorder or something like that. That is something very, very different. But when we're talking about just generally feeling a bit anxious on a regular basis in life or in your career, if you actually break it down, what it usually is really is it's you visualizing the future going wrong, usually.
Mm-hmm.
And it's imagining that audition, for example, where you get your words wrong, or they hate you, or they laugh at you, or you'll fall over. Basically, it's imagining the thing you're about to do in the worst case scenario. And that's then what creates this feeling of anxiety. So a lot of what we coach when it comes to like the mindset perspective is looking at how you can shift that. And one of the things we speak about is like visualization. So there's two key ways that I think can be quite effective for people. The first one is to literally just flip reverse that imagined future from worst case scenario to best case scenario and actually start thinking, how amazing could this go? Now, with visualization, that we're not just talking about like, oh yeah, I can imagine it going really well and they love me and I get my lines right and I get the job. Yeah, okay, I kind of got it. Like, with visualization, for it to be effective, you need to commit to it. So it's about maybe taking a few minutes, close your eyes, and really go to that moment as if you're there and visualize it step by step, how amazing it could go. What do you say? How do you say it? And see that best case scenario play out. So we're literally just getting you to shift your focus from seeing how bad it could go to how amazing it could go. Now, for some people, they go, yeah, but either way, Matt, I've still got to do the audition. It still hasn't happened yet. I still feel anxious. So the other visualization technique you can have is to actually go back in the past rather than focusing on the imagined future. Find a time in your life where you did do something amazingly, where it did go really well and you were proud. And every single one of us, I don't care who you are, you've got an example of this. And again, it's about committing to it. So take yourself back to that time, close your eyes if it helps, see what you actually saw, feel the emotions you felt, hear what you heard. Be as present in that moment, almost like it's actually happening again. Play out that moment when you got that job or that thing went super well. And then again, that's just going to be one technique that can start to reduce a little bit of those feelings of anxiety, make you feel a bit more present, feel focused, and feel a little bit more self-assured. So yeah, that's one of the techniques, isn't it, that can really help people.
Yeah, I really like the going back and looking at past evidence of you achieving something that you thought was hard. Ultimately, that, you know, you can do hard things. You know, proof to me, Ross, that, you know, you can do hard things. And Petch at the moment, producer Petch on Acts on this, he's training for a marathon. And I remember the first couple of marathons that I did, and you do your first one and you get through it, and then you're going for the second one. You can put pressure on yourself, like, oh God, am I going to get through this one? And you know, I've got to get a faster time. And then and that can be quite, you know, anxiety inducing when you're on the start line, thinking, oh my God, there's a lot of pressure on me. I've got one shot at this. And for me, you know, multiple times throughout the race, you know, I would just have to remind myself, you know, before I'm even at the halfway mark, you know, that before that, I'd probably done 60 half marathons in training. Like, why am I nervous at 8 miles? I've done this 60 times. Like, at least till the halfway point, you can chill. And then, you know, I've done up to maybe 20 miles in training multiple times. So it wasn't really until you get on to the, you know, the real unbeaten path, which for me was 20 to the 26.2 miles. So there's that 6.2 miles I'd never done in training. I'd only ever trained up to mile 20. So I kept just having to remind myself that until mile 20, mate, you've got this. You've got this in the bag. And then going into 20 to 26.2, that 6.2, there was just a real sense of sort of curiosity And I guess by that point, optimism of going, oh my God, you might actually be able to do this. Like, just keep it together, hold it together, but you're probably going to be able to do this. And then you would see in the London Marathon, it's amazing. There's a tunnel that was sponsored by Lucozade back in the day. I don't know if it still is, but they call it Lucozade Tunnel. And it's at the point where a lot of people just start going under. A lot of people start hitting the wall. And it's got this big banner across it, and it says, "Welcome to the 0.0000000000149% club," or something like that. And that's the percentage of people on Earth who ever ran 26.2 miles. Because yes, 100,000 people do it every year in London, but out of 7 billion people, you're in the tiniest of tiniest minorities, and that just sends like goosebumps, shivers down your spine. And you're thinking, right, I'm in uncharted territory. I've never run this far before. But like, I've got to remember that if I can do this, I'm going to be in that 0.00001% club. And same with the acting industry. If you can stay in this game long enough and you can start working, out of the 90,000 actors registered on Spotlight, I honestly believe 81,000 of them are not working hard enough. Just because of my sheer exposure to this industry over the last 20 years. You don't have to do that much more work in this industry to rise to the top. You just have to be a little bit better than everybody else. And for most people, they're not doing enough. But it doesn't mean you've got to go to the nth degree.
Yeah.
You just have to stay in the game long enough and keep focusing on your output and putting out good, specific work that you are getting in front of the right people who are going to want to employ you for that work.
And something else we speak about when we're coaching this is the consistency element. And I think consistency, we've heard it many times, is key, like consistently showing up. But I think a lot of people, again, have the wrong understanding of what that means, because consistency for a lot of people means consistently being absolutely outstanding, sending 100 emails, being at acting class, learning the lines, doing everything perfect, being at networking events. Like, that's what makes them feel like I'm being a really proactive actor consistently. But actually, life doesn't always allow you to be that full on, and that's okay. So what I try and help people redefine consistency as is, it's not about consistently being superhuman and amazing. It's just about consistently doing something, just something every day, or, even every other day. If you can't do it every day, I'm sure if you really look at it, you probably can do something every day. But I think redefining that kind of definition of consistency is key, because what we've seen a lot of times with the people I work with, whether that be on fitness goals or career goals, acting goals, so on, is you tend to get people have been spending a lot of their life going all in, followed by burnout, and then all out. So they give it everything and they do loads, and then they've gone too fast, a bit like the marathon analogy. If you sprint and you go too fast, too quickly, you're not going to sustain it and stay till the end. So something we're going to look at is, yes, consistency is absolutely key when it comes to achieving any goal, but maybe just reevaluate your understanding and relationship with actually what does consistency need to look like. And that's just maybe a little tip for some of you to think about.
Yeah, I love it, Alex. You've got a great point here when we're talking about identity, about saying you're an actor even when you're not, you're not employed, not defining your identity, by your employment status. And Alex has got, I've just realised it's the same in other jobs. It's like, a pilot. If you ask the pilot what his job is, he's not going to say he's a pilot when he's not flying a plane. It's like,
be a bit worrying, wouldn't it?
You're not going to see him in Costa Coffee. What do you do? Oh, nothing. Unless I'm actually in the cockpit, I am not a pilot. Yeah, it's not like unless you're on a stage or in front of a camera, you're not an actor. Of course you are.
Yeah.
Right, let's see what other questions we've got. So Indra says, a limiting belief is that I have nothing. Oh, okay, wow. That I have nothing going for me. And I always say that whenever I don't get a role or anything goes wrong for me. So so I guess that's exploring where those kind of limiting beliefs come from, Indra, and then, and then us invalidating it. So in Bulletproof Actor, we can take people through this basic exercise, Matt, very quickly. If you imagine, that belief right now, Indra, and a belief is a feeling of certainty. A belief is something that you are saying, I am certain that I have nothing going for me. When you say, I believe I've got nothing going for me, you're basically telling yourself you are certain you have nothing going for you. So that's really going to affect the action that you're going to take on a daily basis to get the results that you want. So what we do in Bulletproof Actor, we take people through an exercise where we would start, rather than believing that doubt in yourself that you've nothing to offer, we want to start doubting that belief. And we go, whenever we start doubting a belief, it's no longer a belief, it's just an idea. And if you imagine that idea as just a tabletop initially, so the tabletop idea is Indra has nothing to offer. And then in order for you to, validate that belief or that idea and turn it back into a belief, we've got to find at least 4 legs to prop up that tabletop. 4 absolutely unequivocal, factual pieces of evidence to say that you have nothing to offer. And when we start looking at those 4 things and what they would need to be, I guarantee you they're not going to be true. So what kind of things, Matt, would we need to prop that idea up with to prove that Indra has nothing to offer? Now, straight away in your comment there, you said, when I don't get a role or anything goes wrong for me. So that would suggest you're being invited to audition.
Yep.
So so you can't say, well, I've got nothing to offer. No one's ever seen any potential in me to even ask me for an audition. Well, that's not true. So we can't have that as a table leg. Maybe another one, like, no one has ever applauded me, or I've never acted before, and no one's ever said that I'm talented or I was good. I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure that will have happened. I've never had any interest from an agent. I know you said on one of our last calls that an agent had got back to you from an application that you'd sent in, so they clearly thought you had something to offer. What other table legs would we need to support that idea that Indra has nothing to offer, Matt?
I think while you're thinking about it, though, the important thing to hone in on what you've said, Ross, is evidence. And
Real
I think
evidence,
with that, go one step further. Imagine you're in a court of law. Like, this has to stand up, right? And you're going down for life. So it needs to be that, because sometimes people just, rather than come in, like you've said, it's an idea now. This is just an idea. It's not a fact. But we need facts to stack up to make that idea a fact. When what people do is they just come up with other ideas. Well, I sort of this kind. No. It needs to be a factual, hard evidence to support that you have absolutely nothing to offer, right? So you've never, ever, ever, ever had one compliment. You've never, ever brought something to the table. You've never done something where people have been grateful and said, thank you so much. That was super valuable. Like, it has to be never. Because if you just had it once, then that would be brought up in the court of law. Hang on, there's evidence here that they did once say thank you. You brought something to the table. It wouldn't stand up in a court of law. I think when you think about those ideas like that, we can all agree, without even knowing you ain't going to get it. Like, you're not going to convict it.
Even if you literally, could tell me that no one had ever given you any of those things that Matt talks about there, Indra, the sheer fact that you are a human being, and as a human being, we are designed to get better through effort.
Yeah, get this. Like, say that again, Ross, because this quote, if you think about how we as people are designed.
Yeah, absolutely. You as a human being and your brain and everything about you is designed, by default to get better through effort.
I love it.
So if you
let that land, like if you do something consistently and work at it and put your focus on something, your design within you is that you will get better. Like, how blooming lucky are we that that's how we've been designed? Just work at it long enough, you will get better.
Yeah, it is impossible not to improve ultimately if you deploy effort in any area of your life. You will always get better.
Also, if you get one of those that we've been speaking about there, Ross, as evidence and go, actually, nobody has ever said you're good or well done, then that's still only one table leg. You need 4. You need to find another 3 pieces of hard evidence. And I just think it's a really, really great exercise to help give a perspective, because we talk a lot about how in life as human beings, I won't go too deep on this, but there's something that I studied and I'm a practitioner in called NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. Some of you may be familiar with it, but it talks about, I guess the basic way that I'll put it is that none of us actually experiences life in its purest, most authentic form. And what I mean by that is the way that we're designed is we can't take in through our senses, through our smell, our sight, and everything around us. We can't take every single thing in its purity. What we have to do is our brain has to filter the experience. So ultimately, it will delete some of it, it will distort, it will generalize some of what we're going through and just pick a few things to focus on. And then what we focus on, what we filtered, creates our perception of reality. In other words, I just think it's a cool thing to kind of say and realize, we never experience reality, right? We only ever experience a perception of reality, which again is just like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So when you're focusing on these limiting beliefs and you're focusing on, without putting the focus on the other evidence, then that's your reality. That becomes your truth. That becomes who you think you are. But it's a perception. It's not actual reality. And what this exercise is really great at doing is kind of taking you out of your perspective, your perception, looking around a bit wider than what you've filtered and finding the truth. We're not asking you to change that belief with a new belief. We're asking you to focus on evidence, the truth, to then feed into a new belief.
Yep. No, I completely agree. And it's interesting that when you go, actually, you know what, everybody's reality is different. We can
Totally.
all watch the same scene unfold in a drama, in life, in the real world, on TV, on a stage, and everybody's experience of that and the feelings that it's going to bring up for them and the perception of it is going to be completely different.
It's just,
Which is it's just crazy. It's just, you know, what I said on the live training the other day when someone was like, you know, I just believe that she said, I believe I'm too boring. One of my limiting beliefs, I'm too boring to succeed. And, you know, just realizing, I said this on the training, that your DNA, the very material that you are made up of right now, you know, in literally billions of years of this planet existing, has never, ever, ever, ever existed before. And moving forward, the day you leave this earth, it will never, ever, 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 ever exist again. There's nothing boring, you know, or bland about that.
Man.
It's insane. It's absolutely incredible when, you know, when you think, actually, you know, we're actually within 1%. Our DNA is within 1% of each other. We're 99% the same, but that 1% that makes us different makes us so different.
So unique. I love this. This is where we geek out, and it's where what you're witnessing now.
Though.
Everybody's witnessing how we talk away from camera, which is just geeking out on, like, this is mind blowing, and it's this kind of conversation in it that I think gets us so passionate. Again, it's these realizations and this perspective shift. A lot of us lose perspective over how lucky we are, over how unique we are, over how gifted we are. You said it the other day. If, you know, a day above ground with air in our nostrils is an amazing day. It's a good, and I was like, right, I shall see you shortly with air in my nostrils. But it's so true. Like when you just, and this is why this kind of training and the stuff that we do is so valuable for people, because what it's doing is encouraging you to have a bit of a reality check and get that perspective that actually we are so lucky. We do have opportunity. We are unique. What are we waiting for? Life is such a precious gift.
And
go out there.
Yeah, sometimes life can really beat you down. It's very easy to think of this stuff when life is going good. It's very hard to sort of really embrace this stuff when life is going tough. And that's why you need to. That's why you need to sort of, you know, really work on this sort of stuff. But yeah, you know, it really is true in terms of just how quick life goes by. You know, in that book by Bronnie Ware, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, the number one regret of the dying, she worked in palliative care, worked with many people literally in the last days of their life, and had very frank and candid conversations with them about what they regretted in life. And the number one regret was, I wish I'd have lived a life for me, as opposed to the life that I thought other people wanted me to live. And that could be choosing a career, marrying the right person, I don't know, moving to a different place, you know, ultimately just pursuing what you want to pursue whilst you, you know, while you can, while you still have control of that DNA that is so unique. So it is important to focus on this stuff. But yeah, it's really, I get it. It's easy to do this sort of stuff and think this way when life is going hard, but it's why when life is going well, sorry, but it's why you need to practice this stuff, you know, whilst you can, whilst life is going well or okay, so that it's there for you when it's not, because it's really, really difficult.
And also, even if you are going through a really challenging spot right now, which, by the way, you have my empathy. We all go through those stages in life, you know. Unfortunately, it's just part of the human experience, but it's still so important to, as best as you can, show up, get around the people, do the things that are going to help get you back on track and support you through that time. It might be hard. It might be the last thing that you want to do. But there's a quote that I love, which is hard choices equals an easier life, and easy choices equals a harder life. And ultimately what that is referring to is if you always just choose the easy path, if you always just go, oh, I can't do that right now, or I'm struggling, or it's too tough, or you create excuses and just do what comes easier in the here and now, you know, it's easier to not get up early. It's easier to not work on your mindset. It's easier to not send those emails to casting directors or go to the gym. That is easier. But if you always choose just what comes easier in the short term, that will compound and there will be a consequence, and it will mean you have a harder life. So what I always encourage people to do is think about, look, just because it's a bit harder in the short term to push through the tough times, to show up, to send the emails, to go to the gym, to get up early, whatever those things are, the hard choices will also compound, and eventually you'll have an easier life and you'll get those results, and you will be rewarded for it. So remember that, guys, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's a reason not to do it.
I remember you always saying to me something that stuck with me forever is pass the blame, pass the power. And it is there's something really in that. If you're going to blame other people in the industry or other circumstances for why you're not where you want to be, you just give all of your power away. And just one other thing, coming back to that question, I ask myself quite regularly, if I'm really down, the things haven't gone well, like what good is there in this situation that I cannot currently see? For anyone who's watching this or listening to this in the future and they're like, I really have been smashed in the face. Like sometimes just the acknowledgement that I can still feel that pain is enough in terms of I'm still here.
Yeah.
Because it'd be a lot worse if I couldn't feel it, because it means it's over for me. I'm not here anymore, you know. And there's an auntie of someone very close to me at the moment who's really in the final sort of sector of her life. I don't know what you would call it. It's got motor neurons disease and very young, and it's really distressing to watch. It's one of the cruelest diseases I've ever seen. You know, take somebody's independence away, and then their whole body kind of shuts down, and it really is just a very, very undignified way to kind of decline. And I promise you, I think about this sometimes. I'm like, you know what? She would give anything probably to feel that pain. You know, not of that situation, my pain that I'm going through, the thing that I'm saying, oh, this is painful.
Yeah.
She would take that on a million times over what she is actually the reality of her life. So sometimes just perspective shift like that is really important as well. You know, just to think about.
It's such. I think sometimes, especially when we're younger, death can seem so far away, and like it doesn't happen to people. Like because we filter things, and we can be in denial. And I know this is really, really morbid, people, so I apologize, but it really can be when you get that reality check that we're speaking about and put things in perspective. It can be such a motivator to go, what am I moaning about? Why am I blaming? Oh, that the weather's bad, or the government, or the industry's hard. Just like sometimes it's like just giving yourself a metaphorical slap and going, shut up. Like life actually is a gift. It's a beautiful opportunity. I'm here. You know, go for it, man. Just go for it.
Yeah, how am I going to look at it happening for me, not to me? And we mentioned on Saturday as well that I get to, I don't have to game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I get to go to this audition. I don't have to. What a privilege it is to be invited, you know, in to show off my talent. Or, you know, I get to go food shopping. I don't have to go to the supermarket. What a privilege it is to live in a world where I can buy food as opposed to hunt for it or forage for it. You know, there's always a perspective shift, a paradigm shift that you can make on stuff. And I love it. Alex has just reminded me when I can't remember who it was, Jimmy Carr, wasn't it? His definition of the meaning of life, I think. Was that Jimmy Carr? I think it was. I loved it. Where he said, what is the meaning of life? And he says, listen, 5 words, enjoying the passage of time. That's it. There's no other meaning of life than that. Enjoying the passage of time.
Which doesn't mean it's always going to be amazing, but it's finding the joy, it's finding the lessons, it's finding the opportunity in the tough times. I love it. So simplistic and yet so true and so easily forgotten.
Alex is attributing you to that quote, but I'm pretty certain it was Jimmy Carr.
I'm happy to take it. Jimmy who? Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him. Amazing. Right, what I'm going to do, I just quickly, we'll answer a couple more questions. We've gone over a little bit, but I just want to show you behind the scenes of Bulletproof Actor, the brand new mindset program that we just launched. Well, registration opened on Saturday. If you want to get involved in this, if you really, really want to dive deep on your mindset this year, you will not find anything else in the market like this. This is going to be 4 months you can spend with me, Matt. 16 hours of video coaching, 8 hours of live coaching that's coming up, 3 months of WhatsApp accountability in a secret WhatsApp group. It's going to be 4 months in a Facebook group for daily support. Just want to show you, though, how it's actually laid out in the back end. This is the main program, Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success version 2.0. Super, super simple to take in. There's a 50-page workbook. There's an app you can download to take this in. Welcome video there. But I just want to show you how it's kind of laid out. It's very, very like just intuitive. 8 core modules. You've got each of the core modules there to go through. I'd say this is 16 hours of coaching for you to go through literally right now. If you got involved in this, you went to bulletproofactor.com and you grabbed a place on this week. We've got some pre-recorded Q&A sessions we did with the live test group of actors we created this program with last year. So you've got, you know, hours of Q&A there to help you, you know, with questions you'd probably have as well. There's the interview with Dr. Aria at the bottom there. I'll go into one of these and show you it actually. You just go in. You've got a little bit of blurb on what the module covers, and I wonder if I can share. I bet. I love the intro, Matt, to this. I wonder if I can share this with just so you can hear the intro. Because hang on, let's have a look. What's that doing there? If I share, how do I share screen with sound? Because I don't think I've put my sound on. Hang on, let's have a look. I'm gonna stop this share. I'm gonna share it again with audio. Yeah, I've done it. I just love the intro to these videos. Watch this, folks, if it'll play. Hang on. Oh, it's not playing with sound. Oh, it's 'cause I've not clicked the sound on. Maybe a bit loud, that. Welcome, everybody, to what is going to be an... Oh, that's the beginning of Unstoppable Confidence Infinite Success version 2.0. But you can see, look at the people here. This is amazing. We did this in front of 100 actors who helped us create this program last year. And we've literally just opened doors up now, bulletproofactor.com, for the 2024 edition of this program. Included in it, as I say, if you go back at the members area here, is a Facebook group. For 4 months, you'll get access to a WhatsApp group, accountability group for 3 months. And then we've got 4 live coaching calls coming up. They're 2 hours each, taking on 2 modules. So if you want to spend time with us for the next 4 months, holding your hand basically daily to really sort your head out when it comes to your mindset, psychology, your mental toughness, your resilience, not just for the acting industry, but for life, because these are universal principles that we talk about in here, Matt. It's not just...
Yeah, I think this is why the course gives so much. Is like we said, those of you that have been with us since the beginning tonight, you know, that study that was done, 85% of what equated to people being successful was not the skill set and the knowledge. You know, it's not things like knowing how to have the best spotlight profile or best show reel, or, you know, knowing what directors and casting directors to write. None of that stuff. That equated to 15%. 85% of what made people successful was their mindset. And that is what this course is about. But it goes one step further. Not only is it going to equip you with the tools, the awareness, the understanding to really help your mindset in your acting career, it's going to help you with your relationships with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends, with your partner. It's going to help you with your physical health and your fitness. It's going to help you with every single area of your life. So this course, guys, I know, like I said at the beginning, a lot of you will be like, oh, I just like act on this because, you know, it gives me the industry insights. It lets me know who are the people casting what at the moment. It gives me practical advice on my show reel and all this amazing stuff. But now with this perspective, that stuff's only going to equate to 15% of what helps you be successful. What Bulletproof Actor is doing is taking care of the biggest bulk, which is the 85%. And like we say, it's not just going to help you with your acting career. It's going to help you genuinely with every area of your life, which, how can you even put a price on that, guys? It's so valuable.
Literally, we'll give you the tools to live a happier life for the rest of your life. Everything that we coach in this program has changed our own lives. It's based around something in 2014 that really changed the game for me. I would absolutely not be doing what I'm doing today without any of this stuff. It's not fluff. It's also, as well, saying that it's not for people who want to dabble. You know, this is for people who really, really want to commit. If you are ready to make some big changes in your life, not all at once, you know, that's not what it's about. It's about really taking you through baby steps to make these changes, so it's not overwhelming. But like Matt said, in every area of your life, not just the acting industry, you know, creating, you know, resilience in all areas of life, making you understand why you're here, what's important to you in life, why you're doing this, you know, busting through procrastination, crushing anxiety, you know, helping you breed authentic confidence, not fake it till you make it bullshit. Stuff that will literally, you know, give you life skills that will just help you improve across the board.
Also, finances. We haven't really touched upon it, but something we're so aware of is so many people are maybe doing jobs they don't really want to do just to pay the bills to really fund their acting. And there's a full module where we talk about how you can practically move beyond that. And there's so many people. I know Caroline's on here at the moment, about to start a new business. I know Jen Hardacre has now started a business. He's transacting, he's making money from something she loves with her passion for art outside of the acting. So we're also giving you the framework and equipping you with the ideas of how you can, outside of just your acting career, also earn more money doing things you love rather than just having to quote unquote do a job. By the way, some people might have jobs they love and that's totally fine too, but rather than doing a job that you don't really want to do just to fund going on auditions and so on. So even that side we've taken care of in this course.
Yeah, we cover sleep, we cover nutrition, we got you know, water intake, we, you know, everything that's really going to keep you in tip-top shape so you can attack the acting industry, cultivate a bulletproof mindset and really go out there and win. So yeah, I hope this has been useful for you folks. I'm going to end tonight. I'll just have a look at the comments and then we'll play out a video of just a few people who went through the program with us in the test group. Because we played Rachel's video out before, but I've got a video of some other people as well, so you can hear some other people's experiences. If you want to hear those, then you can learn all about the program and get a place at bulletproofactor.com. So I could put that in the chat for me. That would mean the world. www.bulletproofactor.com, all one word. That would be great. And Alison, that's a great way to finish. Says life is a total gift. Wow. Alison says, I nearly died in 2020, spent 2 years lost, then decided to do what I've always loved again, acting, and I'm so grateful.
Nice.
Alison, wow. That's an incredible perspective that obviously that experience has given you. Isn't it? It's interesting though, isn't it? How something like that will give you this perspective, and maybe you didn't have it before that experience. You nearly lost everything, and that's where experience can really impact you more than just information. That's why applying this stuff is so useful. When you apply it and you experience the benefits from it, then you really believe it. I could tell someone, Matt, like who's incredibly unhealthy, or maybe their body composition is their BMI is too high, or maybe they're suffering from high cholesterol or whatever. I could say, listen, don't eat those donuts because chances are that's not going to end well for you. And they can go, oh, that's information, but you know what? No, sorry, I'm not going to act on it. Not going to implement it. I'm not going to feel. I'm not going to not eat these and then lose weight and feel how good my body is designed to feel. I'm going to crack on with this. And then what happens? They have a heart attack or something like that. And then donuts go from equaling pleasure to equaling potentially, I don't know, my wife and daughter grow up. My daughter grows up without a dad. And then that experience is the thing that makes them go, oh, hang on a minute, right? I'm now going to live my life from this place. And I don't want people to go through those horrific events in order to get this perspective. That's what a program like this is about, is to kind of try and help you have that perspective whilst things are good, without you going through anything, that's horrific like that. But fair play for chasing your dreams, Alison. That's amazing. Good on you. Definitely. Right, I'm going to play this video out. 30 seconds to answer this question for Joe. She's put how to handle a lack of encouragement and support from family. If your family aren't super supportive of your career, maybe, Matt?
Well, the first thing is that, if you're living with them and so on, it's obviously really, really tough. But I think it's about putting the focus on not needing their support. And I know easier said than done, but then I always bring it back to the quote I just said. Easy choices equals hard life. Hard choices equals an easier life. So it might be hard, and you have my sympathy for that. But it's about putting the focus on what can I control irrespective of their support, and also who are the people that I can get around that will support me. It's about pushing. You might not be perfect. Life often isn't. You might still have these interactions that are tough, but the more that you can focus on what you're controlling and not needing their approval, and then B, getting around the people that maybe are the action takers, are aligned with you, are on a similar mission, that are going to help keep you on track and motivate and inspire you. I think that's the key. I think a lot of the rubbish motivational gurus out there will just say, like, cut off your family, your friends, it doesn't matter, like, if you want to be successful, as bad as you want to breathe, and all those kind of Eric Thomas quotes that we used to actually quite like many years ago, right, when we were new to it all. But now we've developed and we've learned, look, that's a load of hype and nonsense. It's not about necessarily cutting people off, but it's about, within what you can control, doing some things that are going to support you and help you as best as you can.
Yeah, and for me, Joe, it's about, like Matt said there, it's about realizing sometimes that there's going to be battery drainers in your life. And in order to be around those people, you've got to find battery chargers outside so that, you can go into that environment with the drainers where your battery might be at 90%, 100%. And then when you drop down, they zap your energy. You might just be dropping down to 70 as opposed to going in at 70 and dropping out at 40.
Yeah.
So if you can be around battery chargers, they're going to ultimately balance out that equation. If you can be around supportive people, then you can be more resilient to the people who maybe aren't so supportive. And what I've always found, Matt, is any actor who's not had the support from their family when they're on their way, as soon as they've made it, in inverted commas, and they've got that first TV job or whatever, their family are so proud and are the first ones to go and brag about them.
Yeah, it's just true.
Yeah,
there's a cycle that I coach and I talk about. I'll save it for another time, but it is, you can see the trends in most human behavior. And yeah, as you say there, the end result is they end up going, actually, well done. And then, like you say, bragging.
Yeah, and that inspires them to maybe level up and chase their dreams as well. So keep going, Joe. So I'm going to end with this video. We'll come back on because we're on Zoom, aren't we? So I'm still gonna be on camera while this is playing out. But this is just half a dozen or so Bulletproof Actor students from the original intake last year as we were developing this course, and just their experiences of it. I can still see all your comments. Let me know in the chat if you resonate, particularly with some of the things that I said at the start of this video around how these actors felt going into the program, because a lot of them were really limiting themselves around what it was that they thought they could and couldn't achieve in the acting industry. So let us know if you resonate with some of this stuff. And again, bulletproofactor.com. If you want to get your place on this program, they will go quickly. They always do. There's only 100 places we allow every year on this. And like I say, around half of those places had already gone before we went live tonight. But it's just some of the experiences of people who went through it last year.
Before I did Bulletproof Actor, my mindset was not in a good place in relation to my self-belief as an actor. I felt like a complete imposter even calling myself an actor. I just felt like I wasn't good enough to be successful and that I was basically too old.
I just thought, what's the point? I've got no effort, no passion, no energy. It just didn't seem like there was anything I could do, and I was just resigned to this kind of world I've put myself in.
I've been operating from a place of fear and comparison and anger.
I had a lot of, confidence issues surrounding my acting, limiting beliefs, which I don't think I realised just the extent of how many limiting beliefs I actually had.
I was stuck in the mud and I felt like I wasn't moving.
I probably felt I wasn't good enough and not ready.
I felt very down, and it was just literally a domino effect, and it wasn't a great place to be.
My mindset has got so much better. I literally just think, just go for it. Don't even give yourself that time to self-doubt, to talk yourself out of it, to talk yourself down. Just literally, if you've got an idea, put pen to paper. If you want to contact someone, network, just do it.
I'm currently prepping for my second TV job, which is my biggest job, I'd like to say yet, because it's bigger. It's from a show I've loved watching and growing up, and I've always wanted to be on the show. And I think without Bulletproof Actor, I wouldn't have had the strength and the knowledge and the confidence and the energy and eagerness to push myself to these directors and casting directors and get myself out there more and have the confidence to go, this is what I want, and ask for it.
I've got the confidence. I feel unstoppable. I left my 60+ hour week job to create my own business.
I just think, if not me, then who?
I grabbed it with my both hands. I completed Bulletproof Actor weekend, and it was the best thing that could have happened.
My biggest light bulb moment in the program was about shifting my focus from the outcomes, which are totally not within my control, to the outputs, which I can control.
So one of my biggest takeaways was to look at limiting self-beliefs.
And I was listing on my limiting beliefs, and I didn't have any evidence to back them up. And I was going through all my positive beliefs, and I had loads of evidence to back them up. And that was a switch for me going, I'm putting myself down all the time.
When a situation happens to you, it's like how you choose to respond, and it's fine and you're valid to have those feelings, but you just go through these questions and really get clarity on the situation. And again, that extends to all avenues in your life: relationships, friendships, work, other jobs. It's really good.
If someone asks me, Jen, what do you do? I'm an actor. I have the confidence, I believe it, I know it, and I'm not afraid to say it anymore.
I knew that Ross and Matt Hall were very experienced in terms of high performance mindset. So I thought, you know what, it's a no-brainer. Let me just sign up, because I'm sure that I'm going to get a lot out of this course, and it really did not disappoint in any way.
I believed in what Ross was doing and what he said. His passion sparked my passion, and I wanted to do it because he's helped me before, and he's definitely helped me again.
I thought, you know what, this is the perfect time to do it. And it was near enough going into the new year at the time. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to start the new year strong. I'm going to finish it strong.
The kind of reason that I did it was because of knowing and liking the three people that were running the course. And yeah, it proved to be very successful.
The thing I liked most about the program was how in depth we went and how scientific it was. And one thing that stood out to me in particular was the 7 levels deep, which got you to really focus on why you want what you want and why you're doing what you're doing.
The experience of listening to a member of the course go through that process, it was demonstrated in a session live, and it had such a massive impact on me. I will never ever forget it.
It wasn't just let's think positive and then positivity is going to happen. It was let's look at the science about why we do this and what will happen because of that, and that's what I really enjoyed about the course.
The thing I love most about the program was the success cycle. Anytime I feel overwhelmed, even today, I go back to the success cycle and I look at each section and see where I'm lacking.
The workbook was great because it meant we could do the workbook at the time, but also go back to it.
On top of it, changing my entire career for the better and the way I think about my career, it's huge. But I think having the community was top notch.
You might be thinking, oh, it's a lot of money, or I don't know. But really and truly, you're investing in yourself, in your career, in your mindset.
It's about your life. Like, I'm so much happier out of the acting industry as much as I am in it at the minute. It's great. So ask yourself, do I want to be happier? If the answer is yes, what are you waiting for?
As I mentioned before, they use science-based techniques. You can't argue with science.
Definitely do it. It's so worth it. You will not regret it.
It got me my career back. And it helped me so much personally as well that there's no need to be on the fence.
Bulletproofactor.com. Go get yourself a place if you do want to make the rest of your life the best of your life. And we'll wrap it up, Matt. But and Caroline, I love your testimonial, Caroline. You look so smiley and just so happy on your testimonial. Thank you so much for giving us feedback on that. That's amazing. Anything to say to wrap up, Matt, before we call it a day?
Thank you, everyone, for watching us tonight. I hope there's maybe been something in it that's maybe been like that catalyst of, okay, that's something I'm going to work on. The thing that I always say at the end of like a coaching session is, please take at least one thing you're going to do as a result of listening to this tonight. I think it's so easy to get into what I call shelf development. You may see above my head here, I've got a shelf. It's developed with lots and lots of books. What I'm getting at is it's so easy to just keep on listening to stuff, learning stuff, and feeling a sense of achievement because you're learning and listening. But please understand that knowledge is not power. Knowledge is just potential power. The thing that actually gives it power is what do you do as a result of what you know. So please, if you found this valuable tonight, the one thing that, you know, I think we all have to get out of this is what we said earlier about you have to be doing something actively on a consistent basis. So the question I posed to everybody watching is, because you were here tonight, what are you going to do as a result of this? That's the key thing. Are you just going to keep listening and learning and feeling a sense of achievement that you've been motivated for a night or for a session or whatever? Or are you going to start to proactively take actions aligned with what you've learned? That's the thing that will make the difference.
Boom. To choose one thing. Act on it this week, and yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this time with us tonight. Thank you so much for everybody put your questions in, and we'd love to carry it on with you if you want to get involved in the program and work with us literally every day for the next 4 months, to make sure that you do have your best year ever in 2024. You don't repeat 2023. Bulletproofactor.com. Go check it out. And Matt, I'll let you go. I know you've been up, like you were performing last night. I know you've had any sleep, so I'll let you go. I've just got to figure out how to stop live streaming from Zoom. I don't normally do Facebook
Maybe
Live.
we'll be here forever. We'll just stay forever.
I'm going to press this button, but I don't know. Hang on. I found it. I've found it. It's all good. Right. We can say the immortal catchphrase. Love to everybody. Take something away from this and use it. Bulletproofactor.com for more info on the main program, and we'll catch up with you soon. Matt, you know what time it is. Love to everyone. In 3, 2, 1.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.